I think I see something. I think I see something. Packet? What's it doing here? Let's see what's inside. Well, look at that. A deck of tarot cards. Why would Martin keep something like that? It deals with a deck of tarot cards. Just having one in your possession is equivalent to heresy. But wait a second. This card seems familiar. It's the pentagram. Hang on. Now that I'm looking at it closely, I see that there are certain differences from the one we saw yesterday. Martin?
Yes?
May I ask where you were last night?
I was sleeping.
And before that?
I said my prayers. Brother Leonardo, why do you ask? Are you accusing me of something?
I am simply investigating, and you've just finished telling me you were sleeping.
I don't have to talk with you at all. I'm sorry.
I find it surprising that you're so uncommunicative today. Is something troubling you? Has it anything to do with my investigations?
What? No. Brother Leonardo, I know that you've been taken off the case, so you can keep those questions of yours. And I have nothing more to add either.
I found this deck of cards in the kitchen.
What? It doesn't belong to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about a deck of cards, replete with pagan symbols. Among them, a strange-looking pentagram. It could very well be that you know something more about it than I. But as you tell me it's not yours, I can hand it over to the abbot. I'm sure that with his help, we'll be able to give it back to its owner. Thank you very much for your time, Martin.
No, please don't.
Pardon?
It's mine.
I know.
I'm pleading with you, brother. Don't say anything to the abbot. I swear to you, it's a gift.
You say this deck of cards is a gift?
Yes, that's how it is.
From your mother, I presume?
How did you find out?
These kinds of pagan depictions are forbidden, and the last place that would have occurred to me to find a tarot deck would have been the kitchen at a monastery. Your kitchen. Anyone else would have got rid of it as soon as the Holy Inquisition arrived here, but I found it in a well-protected place where it couldn't be destroyed. You could have hidden it in the oven, but then it would have got smeared with soot, or perhaps in a soup pot.
It's true. Do you understand now why I keep it?
May I ask why your mother owned this deck of cards?
God have mercy on her. She was...
A witch?
She wasn't a witch. She used the deck of cards to tell people their futures. I know that's not a good thing to do, but she gave hope to many people who didn't have much hope anymore.
And was she good at it?
Telling the future? Well, she was often spot on.
What happened to her?
My father accused her of practicing witchcraft. He didn't want his only son to receive any kind of corruptive influence in his religious schooling. And, God, I don't know if it was the right thing to do, but after all, she was me mother.
That's a tragedy. I'm very sorry.
They burnt her at the stake together with all her possessions. What you have in your hands is all I was able to salvage. It's the only thing I have left of hers.
Do you know what that pentagram signifies?
I think it's a variation on the talisman of Saturn.
Saturn is one of the names the devil is known under.
That's true.
This talisman of Saturn you speak of, Were there perhaps other symbols surrounding it?
Yes, that's right. How do you know that?
Please continue.
It's said that the talisman is identical to Lucifer himself. A sort of invocation for him to send one of his most destructive lackeys to spread chaos on Earth. Berserk.
This so-called Berserk is doing as he pleases here.
That's not quite right. Berserk himself can't do anything in this world if he doesn't inhabit a body to wreak havoc with.
In other words, by taking possession of someone.
Yes. I don't know if it's true or not, but those are things that ought not to be tried out.
Do you believe in all of this, Martin?
As Christians, we must believe in the existence of the devil, Brother Leonardo. The same way the personification of good exists in our Lord, the personification of bad and sin must exist as well. And that is the devil. Good can't do bad, otherwise it would cease to be good.
Yes. I attended the seminary too. But let me ask you something about all this hocus-pocus. Do you believe that a simple mortal has the ability to make the gates to hell open themselves?
I leave the answers to questions like that to the scholars. I limit myself to keeping my hands well away from the lion's maw.
And yet, someone at this abbey has stuck their whole head inside. I must go now. All right, Martin. That was a rather interesting conversation. Here, I'm returning this to you. If you don't mind, I'd like to borrow this card, the Talisman of Saturn.
As you like, but please, don't say a word to anyone about the deck of cards.
My lips are sealed.
I thank you with all my heart. Thanks, Brother Leonardo.
Bells. I demand an explanation.
I hope that...
Relax, Martin. It's not about you.
Brother, as you are well aware, our Abbey has been struck by great misfortune in the course of the last few days. Lucifer intends to take possession of these venerable walls. Yet, instead of taking measures to prevent that, there are some who insist on not seeing the presence of the devil amongst us. They thought that with time he would simply go away forevermore. We are all familiar with the sad consequences of that attitude. Luckily, that's all going to change now. Nazario of Milan, one of the most ferocious soldiers in the struggle against evil, has come to put an end to the deaths.
It's high time somebody does something about it, before all of us die.
Is there a monk named Eladio of Thebes in this hall? Eladio of Thebes? He's not here. That confirms my suspicions.
What suspicions? What is he talking about?
Eladio of Thebes is a criminal. He has been on the wanted list for 2 years for stealing from a monastery in Tarragona. A very valuable relic from the 9th century was stolen. He was calling himself Eleutherius of Antioch at the time. He and his accomplice planned the whole thing well.
Accomplice?
Yes. A short, ugly monk. A translator.
Umberto! They came to the Abbey at the same time!
You see? There you have your killer, Father Abbot.
But they came with the best letters of recommendation.
All of them falsified, no doubt. Didn't you check their authenticity?
Being a thief doesn't automatically mean being a killer.
Oh, I don't? Brothers, I have seen Lucifer. He wears many masks, but he is always the same. The lust in taking pleasure in sin eats away bit by bit at the soul of the hapless wretch who lets himself be seduced by Lucifer, until the lust devours him completely. I have come to banish the devil from this abbey, and that is what I am going to do. There is only one way to put a stop to evil: by showing mercy for the soul and purging the body.
Another monk may die while your master amuses himself burning innocent people at the stake.
And you may be the next monk to die.
But why?
I've got to get into the hospital to understand what has happened to Eladio. I've got to get into the hospital to understand what has happened to Eladio. With Eladio gone, the Abbey has been left without a doctor. Eladio, Eladio, what have you done, my friend? A lock, I'd suppose. Nothing. We'll have to try something else. Candle wax is melting now. We'll wait a moment. A wick from inside a candle. Hello, Nicholas.
Oh, hello!
Do you have a lot of work to do?
I'm sorry, but this time I can't make any keys for you.
I haven't come to request your services.
Fabulous! Then excuse me, and I beg you to please let me get on with my work. I'm very busy and I don't want any problems.
Problems? What are you referring to?
Please leave the smithy.
I see you've taken on the attitude of the Inquisitor. Are those the problems you're referring to? That you don't want to be seen talking to me?
Brother Leonardo, I don't want to be accused of having helped you, so please, here's your compass. Take it.
Oh, no. Quid pro quo, Nicholas.
I'm just a humble blacksmith. With the compass in my possession, I'm...
A potential accomplice? To my knowledge, no one has accused me of anything.
Take it!
It's yours, Nicholas. In all seriousness. Keep it, or do whatever you please with it. But it's not mine anymore.
I'm sorry, but there you are. It's all yours.
Excellent. There is powder on the lock. A candle wick. It's dry. It's not going to burn like this. I'd have to soak it in alcohol. But naturally, the only place at the Abbey where you can find alcohol is exactly where I want to get into. The wine will flow out. I should catch the wine in a receptacle. Full. Now I can soak the wick in it. The wick has been soaked in wine.
We did it!
All right, leave the candle burning. Perfect. A small explosion, but enough to blast the lock apart. I ask myself what Eladio keeps here.
Something dangerous. I mean, someone could take some medicine that wasn't meant for them and get sick. That's why he kept it under lock and key.
Look around you, Bruno. All these shelves are full of chemical substances. Wouldn't you consider them rather dangerous if an unknowing person ingested them? Can you spare a moment, Egidio?
No, but that won't stop you from asking whatever you want to.
I want you to open Umberto's cell for me.
What? I can't do that. I can't.
But you're still the gatekeeper, aren't you?
And you're not the official investigator anymore, are you?
Egidio, this is only about opening a door. You've done it often enough.
Not while the Holy Inquisition was busy searching the cell next door.
Come, let's go.
Don't you understand? We have been ordered not to help you in any way because your work here is done. The order was crystal clear.
It could have been that the abbot meant...
Abbot? Who said a word about the abbot? Their orders from Nazario of Milan.
Is that right? Do you know what it says in this letter?
No, how should I know? I'm not a fortune teller.
You shouldn't be so rude, Egidio.
And you should leave me in peace. The Inquisitor doesn't want us to talk to you.
You and I are going to have a little chat.
Well, if you can't tell me how to sweep up all of this while I sleep away the afternoon nap, then I'm not interested in anything you feel you have to tell me.
Nonetheless, I think you'd find the contents of this letter very interesting.
What's that to me?
You don't know how to read, do you?
According to the Bible, that's not a sin.
How do you know that if you can't read? Is it all the same to you?
Why should it interest me what the letter says?
You've seen it before, haven't you?
No, I don't know what you mean.
Let me refresh your memory a bit. To the Most Reverend Father Abbot of San Torquato, for perusal at his convenience.
That's enough. Don't read any more.
So you used to live in San Torquato?
Yes, I spent my childhood there. Well, actually, I spent a lot of time there. Got out whenever I could.
I see that it's not easy for you to follow the rules.
And why should I? Why can they do what they want and I can't?
They?
Yes, them. The ones with power. The ones that rule the world.
If you didn't like it, then why did you return to the Abbey?
What else could someone like me do? And besides, after what happened...
Why did Segundo want to expel you from the Abbey?
My punishment wouldn't have been to expel me from here. Mine would have been to send me back to San Torquato. Believe you me, if suffering takes us closer to heaven, then San Torquato is full of saints.
I get the point.
I don't. Why did Segundo write that letter?
By blackmailing him, Segundo can be certain that Egidio will do his bidding.
Ah, the way you're doing it.
Shut up, Bruno. What incident does this letter refer to?
It was 4 Lent seasons ago. The cook at San Torquato caught me breaking the rule to fast. I had planned to get away, but they caught me. After I'd spent the night locked up in the stables, Prior arranged for me to have a cavalry of my own. But just when he was about to start cracking the whip, I turned around and shoved him so that I could escape. As he fell, the prior hit the back of his head and died. Segundo was there for a visit and saw it all. He was the only witness. He told everyone that it was an accident and suggested to the abbot that he should send me to the abbey here to do his bidding.
Interesting. Are you going to help me now and open Umberto's cell?
Well, are you?
And what about the letter?
It can't be said that this paper is of any quality. It could easily be damaged, even go up in flames. Do you see what I'm driving at?
I get it. I get the point.
If that's the case, then we should get going, shouldn't we?
What other choice did I have? But now, give me the letter.
All right.
You can go in if you like. Now give me the cursed letter.
Don't worry. The past doesn't interest me in the least. After all, we all have things we'd rather forget.
What are we looking for, Master?
I don't know yet, Bruno. What's that? There's something down here. Come, Bruno. Help me move the bed. There's something underneath it. The gap is too small for me to put my hand through. My beloved compass. I think it's going to hurt me almost as much as it hurts you. All right. After all, it's for the good of the investigation. It's completely ruined and can't be fixed. The only thing that's not broken is the magnet. That doesn't work. An excellent idea. But how does one get the magnet back afterwards? Now the crucifix is stuck to the magnet. Which all goes to show that a compass is not just for finding north. Those voices sound familiar.
Do you think that Eladio killed Umberto?
It might indicate why your doctor fled.
If all this has been clarified, then why did he come here?
Let me remind you that Umberto's death wasn't the only one, Father.
Oh, so Eladio is the killer we're searching for.
I fully grasp your desire to learn the truth, Father. I promise you that by sunrise, all your questions shall be answered.
How did you know that the key belongs to the cabinet?
Remember what you heard in the chapter hall. Eladio and Umberto were accomplices. Making a connection between the key and this cabinet would therefore be a logical conclusion, don't you think? Let's see what this piece of paper reveals to us.
What does it say?
It's the translation of a page from a book. Do you recall having seen a book recently from which a page had been torn out?
It's the book we brought with us as a gift from my father, isn't it?
It is indeed.
And how do you know that it's a translation from my book?
Oh, I simply draw my conclusions. Everything seems to indicate that the killer tore out the sheet of paper to have it translated. But when he saw what was written on it, Umberto decided not to hand over the translation to our killer. In light of Umberto's refusal, and driven by uncontrollable fury, the killer decided it would be best to strangle Umberto and look for the page on his own, which he was unable to locate, as we see.
Why did Umberto give him the translation?
He was probably terrified by the consequences something like this might provoke. It's one thing to have been a thief, but it's quite another to be indifferent to the possibility of exterminating humanity. Listen, the conjurer must take into account that Berserk will not be content with merely entering our world, but that he would moreover take possession of that person's body in order to spread chaos. Sound familiar?
Oh,
Now we know why Umberto had to die. Let's take a look at that chest. Let's see. Impossible. It's locked. Let's go, Bruno.
where to?
To see Nicholas. He's the only one here who's able to open the chest. I'm going to try to convince him to do it.
Open the chest? What for? The best thing would be to hand it over to the Holy Inquisition. We've already broken enough rules in the last few days. I don't want to be caught red-handed with a chest full of stolen valuables.
It could be that there's something in this chest that throws some light on the identity of our killer.
I don't think so.
Do you think anyone cares what you think? I told you to follow me. That's all there is to it.
No.
Bruno, you're about to earn a few strokes of the lash.
No, we've come this far, but not one step further. I've had enough of doing things that are rewarded by spending an eternity in hell. I want to go to heaven, Leonardo.
I beg your pardon? Did you just call me Leonardo?
Yes, I did. You've stopped being my master. A master doesn't force his novices to dig up dead people or be an accomplice to stealing a relic that the Holy Inquisition is after.
Isn't it clear to you that we're doing all this to get to the bottom of the truth?
To get to the bottom of the truth or to satisfy your ego? Everyone says you're a very wise monk, but as a monk you haven't devoted 1 second to prayer, and as a wise man it seems to be much more important to you to put your talent on display than to serve God.
All right. As I've stopped being your master according to your own words, from now on you'll have to fend for yourself, Bruno.
I will.
What disappoints me thereby? What really disappoints me is that you haven't learned a thing in the process. Not one thing. Oh yes, stay right where you are, weeping like a little boy. If none of all this has matured you, nothing in the world is going to make you grow up.
Is desecrating graves part of becoming mature?
I promised your father that I'd make a man out of you. Come, Bruno, follow me. It's your last chance.
I won't do it.
As you like. Even if all I did for you was in vain, at least that won't be the case with this investigation. Goodbye, Bruno. A message on the stained scrap of paper. It says, "Come to the refectory." Oh my God! Nicholas!
I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here.
Do you need help, boy?
I'd need Eladio's help to corroborate this, but I believe he's been poisoned.
Well, well, well. What have we here?
Good heavens, Nicholas! Brother Leonardo, tell me right away what...
I'll explain it to you. Father Abbott, there is your killer.
What?
He conspired with his accomplice, Eladio of Thebes, to steal the cross of San Remigio and do away with any monk who crossed his path.
That's not true.
Ah, my poor novice. how easy it is to draw the tangled thread of a lie into the innocent minds of children.
But I was at his side the whole time.
Of course. You were there when he poisoned Umberto, weren't you?
Bruno, don't listen to him. You know.
The atrocities you were forced to witness, and perhaps commit as well. Isn't that how it was? Sinners who don't confess go to hell, my dear Bruno. To the eternal torment of hell. Tell me, Bruno, have you sinned?
He told me that it wasn't bad, that it was in order to find the killer. I didn't want to. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
There, my son. It's over and done with now. Leonardo de Toledo, I accuse you of murdering Umberto of Lyon, Godfried of Trentino, and Nicholas of York, and furthermore of being an accomplice to the death of Anselmo of Rance, as well as to the theft of the cross of San Remigio.
That's insane, Nazario. You can't accuse me without evidence.
Then I shall seek the evidence. We shall see. What is that? A tarot card? There you have your motive, Father Abbot. Heresy!
Yes, it's similar to the coloured drawing in the library.
Pray tell, why would Brother Leonardo want to kill 4 monks?
You killed 4 monks as a sacrificial offering to the devil, and stole the cross together with your accomplices.
You don't understand the slightest thing. You're not even familiar with the facts.
I understand those of your bent only too well. Servants of Beelzebub, eager to destroy peace, to sow the seeds of chaos and annihilate the souls of righteous men. Oh, yes. I have seen many like you.
If I were a servant of the devil, I wouldn't be a monk. I'd be an inquisitor.
I have waited a long time for this. And now I have finally unmasked you. This very night we shall free his soul from the dungeon of sin. Prepare the pyre.